In this video, we are going to show how to perform a gradual migration from prime infrastructure to Cisco Catalyst Center, as opposed to previous videos where we showed one-time migration. And also, we are going to look into the latest version of the Prime Data Migration tool, which is version 5. This video is part of the Cisco Catalyst Center training series, and Catalyst Center is formerly known as Cisco DNA Center. My name is Lila Rousseau. I'm a Principal Solutions Engineer for Americas. So the first question that we always get is, why do we need to migrate from prime infrastructure? And in previous videos, we covered the benefits of intent-based automation, intent-based assurance, if we compare to traditional management systems. And we recommend you go to those videos. But also, on top of the benefits that we get with the new capabilities of Catalyst Center, we know that we announced the end of sale of prime infrastructure, and even though there's a long time until the last day of support, it's a good idea to start thinking about our own infrastructure and how best to migrate from prime to Catalyst Center. So when we talk about migration, there are two approaches in general. The first is the one-time migration. So we take everything that is available in prime infrastructure, meaning all the locations, all the devices, all the maps, and we migrate everything from prime to Catalyst Center, and we start using Catalyst Center for automation and assurance, and hopefully we decommission prime infrastructure. In some environments, this is possible. In some other environments, we need to take a more gradual approach. And gradual really means different things. It could mean start with a group of locations first, as opposed to all the locations, and migrate from prime to Catalyst Center for either both automation and assurance, or maybe we can do it just for assurance. Another way would be to take all the locations and just migrate for assurance first, wait, test the waters, and move the automation operational model to Catalyst Center at a later time. So again, the gradual migration really is different in different environments. That will depend on your own design, your technical requirements, and operational model. But in this video, we are going to show an example on how to use the Prime Data Migration tool if you want to go through a migration in this gradual approach. So in this demo, I'm going to explain what the demo is all about. I have two sites, two locations, actually two, which are type of buildings. And one is called Site San Jose 13. It has 2 floors, and then I have another site that it's called Site San Jose 11, which also has 2 floors. Again, these two are buildings. In San Jose 13, I have 2 switches. For this demo, I just want to show the capability, but there's not a lot going on with the switches. It's more about the wireless LAN controllers and the access points. So in this building, I have these 2 switches. I have a 19800 wireless LAN controller and a 14800 access point, which is connected to this wireless LAN controller. Then I have a router that is an ISR 4K router that it's not assigned to any building in prime infrastructure. And the idea is that we are going to use this router to assign it to building San Jose 13 after we do the migration. So we can show the coexistence feature of the Prime Data Migration tool. And lastly, we are going to migrate our second building, which is Site San Jose 11, which contains a switch. Again, not very interesting for our demo, but what's very interesting is that it contains an access point, which is a Catalyst 9100 access point that is connected to the wireless LAN controller 9800 that it's located in building San Jose 13 that we previously migrated. So we are going to show how this migration will happen with all these elements in place. Summary of the demo. So once again, we have all the steps that are going to happen in the demo. The migration starts with the Prime data migration tool. This tool lives in Prime infrastructure and it will take us through a 6-step workflow. Some of these steps are optional depending on what exactly you are migrating. First step is to enter the IP address of Catalyst Center as well as the username and password. Obviously, Catalyst Center and Prime infrastructure need to be reachable with each other. Once the Prime data migration tool tests the reachability with Catalyst Center, we are ready to proceed to step number 2. In step number 2 is where we are going to define the settings for this particular migration. If we are going to do gradual migration, and we decide that we want to maintain the automation in Prime infrastructure, which is what's going to happen in this case, this is where we can leverage a capability called Coexistence. What does it mean? So as we said before, we are going to first migrate building San Jose 13. And the definition of my operational model, again, this is my own definition and it will depend on your own environment. But in this case, for this demo, my decision has been I'm going to continue doing all the automation in Prime for building San Jose 13 and all the floors within. And I'm going to migrate San Jose 13 to Catalyst Center for assurance purposes only. Since I want to do all the automation in Prime infrastructure, I can leverage these coexistence capabilities. That means that when changes are made in Prime, changes are going to be reflected in Catalyst Center for the locations that I'm migrating in this workflow. I'm going to go ahead and enable the coexistence, and those are the first 2 lines. The first 2 checkbox are the ones that we typically enable when we want to continue doing the automation in Prime infrastructure. There's optional elements that we can migrate, and that is CMX, eyes, and templates. These have been covered in previous videos. I'm not going to migrate these elements in this particular demo. This is where we are going to tell the Prime data migration tool what locations exactly we are going to migrate in this particular workflow. Remember that our design of the migration is starting with building San Jose 13 and all the floors within. The Prime data migration tool has an option to create either areas or buildings in Catalyst Center from Prime infrastructure using the Prime data migration tool. So I'm going to use the opportunity to create an area that it's called San Jose area in Catalyst Center from here, so that then I can use that for migration purposes. So now the San Jose area has been created in Catalyst Center. So now I can indicate the Prime data migration tool to migrate building San Jose 13 into the newly created San Jose area. This is an optional way of migrating, and it's a good idea to use this feature if you want to clean up your hierarchy that you already have in Prime now that we are migrating to Catalyst Center. On the right hand side, we can see the group movement log. So this is very useful because it tells you what is the source, so what locations we are migrating, and what is the destination once we migrate into Catalyst Center. So lots of visibility here so that it's easier to identify any potential issues. The wizard skipped step number 4 and 5 because in step number 2, we didn't indicate that we wanted to migrate ICE, CMX, or templates. For this reason, the wizard automatically is skipping these steps, taking us to step number 6, which is the summary of all the migration elements that are going to be migrated in this workflow. Now I'm going to go ahead and force the synchronization, and this is going to migrate all the elements within building San Jose 13, and again, the floors within. Migration is finalized and it's been done successfully, as we see in the message here. So we are ready to go and check what happened in Catalyst Center. Before the migration, I had no devices in Catalyst Center. I had some buildings and some floors that I created, but I have no devices. This is right after the migration, and we can see that the inventory has been populated with all the devices, and this is coming from Prime infrastructure, from the Prime data migration tool. I'm going to go ahead and go and check specifically San Jose 13. So this is the building that we created. And if we remember, we had in San Jose 13, we had 2 switches, one wireless LAN controller, 9800 wireless LAN controller, and one access point, the 4800 access point attached to the 9800 controller. And we can see that all these devices are now in Catalyst Center within the right location, which is San Jose 13. But now we are going to go and see one quick thing, and this is the fact that I have one device which is an access point. This access point is the Catalyst 9K access point that has also been migrated, but it's not assigned to any site. Why is this? Because the Prime Data Migration tool doesn't really migrate access points. The migration tool will migrate the controllers, and the access points are going to be discovered in a way by the wireless LAN controller. That means that the wireless LAN controller is going to inform Catalyst Center which access points are connected to it. Catalyst 9130AX access point is connected to my Catalyst 9800 wireless LAN controller, and that is why it's showing up in the inventory. However, this particular access point is located in building San Jose 11, and that building has not been migrated yet. So from a Catalyst Center perspective, this particular device doesn't have a site assignment. Is this a problem? No, we'll see in a minute how this is going to be solved after we finalize the migration. So now we migrated building 13. We also migrated it with the option of coexistence turned on, which means that if we make changes in this particular site, those changes are going to be reflected into Catalyst Center. What are the changes that we are going to make? I'm going to add a new device, in this case an ISR 4K router, into the location called San Jose 13. Once I do this in Prime, this change is going to be automatically reflected in Catalyst Center because I have coexistence turned on. So let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and add this into the group, which is really our locations in Prime. And this is called San Jose 13. I'm particularly putting this device into floor number 1, but it doesn't really matter which floor. So now this operation is marked as successful. Let's see what happens in Catalyst Center. I'm refreshing the page, and suddenly we can see that a new device is starting to show up. If we continue refreshing the page, we are going to see that this is our ISR 4K router. If we continue our filtering by site, so let's go into that floor number 1, we can see that our ISR router is in floor number 1. How does this happen? It happened because the Prime Data Migration tool has that synchronization turned on. Now I'm going to go back into the Prime Data Migration tool and continue my migration. This is how the gradual part of this demo comes to be. So first I migrated building San Jose 13. In your case, this could really be a group of buildings. It doesn't have to be just one. But then I'm going to go ahead and continue my migration. And in this case, I'm going to migrate my second building, which is building San Jose 11. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the wizard all over again. Same as before, I'm going to enable the coexistence settings because I'm continuing to maintain the operational model saying that Prime Infrastructure is going to do the automation and Catalyst Center is going to do assurance. From the locations that I'm going to migrate, I'm going to select San Jose 11. And once again, we can see that the tool is showing that San Jose 13 has been migrated already. And the new building is going to be San Jose 11. Same as before, we need to indicate where in the site hierarchy of Catalyst Center I want to migrate this building. And once I do that, it's going to be marked for migration. Once again, I'm going to skip steps number 4 and 5. Actually, this is skipped automatically by the tool based on the settings in step number 2. And now I have the opportunity to check the summary of everything that is going to be done in step number 3. Once you finish checking the settings and every tab, we can go ahead and do the force sync one more time. Now again, it's just a question of waiting for the migration to go through. Now let's go back to Catalyst Center and see what's the effect of this migration. Okay, so now we can see what are the devices in San Jose 11. So first we see that San Jose 11 showed up. We see the building and we see the 2 floors. Again, this was created through the Prime Data Migration tool. And we can see that within San Jose 11, now I have 2 things. First, a switch. So this is a Cat9K switch, no problem. But I also see the Catalyst 9130 access point that previously it showed up as unassigned, meaning no site associated. But now, since I migrated the site where this access point belongs to, automatically this access point will be placed in the right site. Specifically, the access point is located in floor 2. Actually, both my access points are located in floor 2 for easy remembering. So we can see that the 4800 is in floor 2 of San Jose 13 and the 9130 is in floor 2 of San Jose 11. So now the next thing that we are going to check out is the maps. One of the most important components from a migration perspective is to being able to leverage all the work that we sometimes have to do in Prime Infrastructure and leverage that same work migrating the maps into Catalyst Center. So this is a map that was migrated from Prime Infrastructure that it's associated with floor 2, and we can see the correct placement of the 9130 access point. Again, this was created, the access point was placed in this spot in Prime, and this information is now showing up in Catalyst Center. We are going to go and check the same thing for floor 2 in San Jose 13. In this case, we need to see our 4800 access point. We can see that now it's placed and it's lit up. And this concludes our demo of gradual migration from Prime infrastructure to Cisco Catalyst Center using the Prime Data Migration Tool version 5. So I hope with this demo now you have a better idea on what the migration would look like if we do it in a gradual way by leveraging the Prime Data Migration Tool. I would encourage that you check the links in this slide. It contains the homepage for the YouTube channel for Catalyst Center, lots of videos on migration as well as Catalyst Center capabilities. And I posted the links of the individual Prime migration related videos so that you can have quick access as well. We hope that you enjoyed this video and that you come back to check other videos in the near future.